I was talking to one of my friends and she expressed that she was kind of nervous about dating. She was apprehensive that a lot of guys would be turned off that she had a child.
When you decide to commit to a single mother, you're committing to her and to her kids.
Bro, being a single mom is literally the hardest shit ever. Like, you cannot do anything.
The struggle continues indeed. This is the lesson life is teaching mothers about poor choices.
If you come into a single parent's life, make sure you're ready for it. We already have enough on our plate as it is.
I want to be rescued. I've spent the first 40 years of my life refusing to be rescued.
How are we dating these days? Single, divorced, 30-ish parents?
To be honest, dating is becoming extinct, becoming impossible to find genuine connections. Kindly subscribe to the channel, as it is our sole form of support. Thank you.
I'm a hot single mom. Of course I'm gonna drop my kid off at my parents' house before our date. I'm a hot single mom. Of course I'm gonna get dressed up for our date only to fall asleep before leaving the house. I'm a hot single mom. Of course you might find food that my kid threw at me in my hair. I'm a hot single mom. Of course you'd want to upgrade me to be your hot wife. I'm a hot single mom. Of course my kid is my best friend. But you could be second in line.
It's just me and my son. He absolutely will not be going with me on any dates. No babysitter. Just can't go. It's just me and my son. When there's a ring on it, then he can meet you. It's just me and my son. Of course I expect you to be a father figure. We a package duo. It's just me and my son. I'm asking about relationship history, how you act when you get mad, and why those relationships ended. We ain't doing toxicity over here. It's just me and my son. So of course I'm going to stay single until I meet a really good man. Ain't no 2, 3, 4, 5 baby daddies over here. Only took one for me to learn my lesson.
Let's talk dating as a single mom. I get this question all the time. Tips, advice, your experience. Are you seeing anyone? How's that going? And I would love to be able to give advice and tips on how that's going, but it's not going. Because as a single mom, our standards about fucking triple prior to. I already had high standards, and then now you bring my daughter into the thing, and like no one's good enough, right? On top of standards, time. As a single mom, we have little to no me time. So if I'm going to invest the small amount of me time I have into someone else, and you fucking waste it, done. And on top of men not being shit, they don't fucking know how to communicate. My 2-year-old toddler has the capability to tell me what she does or does not want, does or does not like, and how she's feeling. But some way, grown-ass men are not able to use their big boy words to communicate. Weird. Moral of the story is I am not your girl if you want advice. I can tell you what not to do. I can tell you the men not to go for, but that's basically all I've learned over the last couple of years. So hopefully you have better luck than I do.
She said it. Don't bother dating them. Put yourself first. You gave another dude the most prized possession, a kid, without all these standards. And you're gonna make the next guy work even harder. What the fuck? Listen, you single mums need to stay out the dating pool with your baggage and problems, please. Comments section is full of single mothers validating single mothers. Can't make this stuff up. Personally, this is just insane logic. This woman just gave you all the reason you need to not pursue her. She's making you work harder, jumping through hoops to get her. But the guy who impregnated her didn't have to do all of that to get her pregnant. Shouldn't your standards be already high before you give your womb before a ring? Shouldn't you make sure the man you're dating has husband qualities and has father qualities? She's raising her standards because she expects you to make up for the poor decisions she made earlier.
With the millions of moms entering the hot mom era, I want to make sure we're on the same page that this has nothing to do with how we look. This is about how we know we are inherently worthy and valuable without anybody else telling us that. This is about how we can set a clear and clean boundary with anyone in our life. This is about knowing exactly what we want and need and making it happen without any fucking guilt. The hot mom era is hot because we're confident, aligned, and embodied. And that equals physical hotness. You know what I'm saying?
What is like dating as a single mom part 2? So yeah, like I said, a lot of men jump into this with the idea that like I'm looking for someone to play daddy. I personally am not. My child has a father and he does his thing. She doesn't need a second father. No, I'm good off of that. What I personally am looking for is a partnership. And a lot of men get that confused. I think some men are intimidated by single moms because like most of the time you have your shit together. Some of us don't. But most of us do. You're very mature, like you have like, I'm very much about like, I take care of my kid by myself. Like I don't have a lot of family help, none of that. So like full blown adult taking care of a kid. You can't just hit me up for a sneaky link. Can't just invite me out on a date tomorrow asking me today. Like, I need a plan. Like, I need structure because I have a kid that needs a babysitter. I personally don't introduce the fact that I have a child to everybody either. Everybody needs to know that. That's my business. That's not your business. And if we're just dating casually, like, and especially if I don't see this going beyond just like 1 or 2 dates, like, that's a waste of time. Not doing it. Like for part 3.
Here we go again with this intimidation word they keep throwing around. The idea that men are intimidated by single mothers is just a way to deflect from the real issue. It's not about intimidation. It's about the reality of the situation. When a man dates a single mother, there's an expectation, spoken or unspoken, that he will eventually take on some role in that child's life. Whether or not the biological father is still involved, the new man is expected to step up, help out, and invest time, energy, and possibly money into a situation he didn't create. This isn't a light responsibility, and it's completely reasonable for men to think twice about it. It's not fear or intimidation, it's caution and self-awareness. Why wouldn't a man carefully consider the level of responsibility he's walking into? After all, it's not just a relationship with the woman, it's a relationship with her child, and that comes with emotional and financial baggage.
This guy commented and said that my dating standards are too high for someone that's a single mother. I have high standards because I'm a single mother. I cannot afford to let somebody play in my face. And who told you that being a single mother disqualifies you from actually having standards and having to settle? I don't know who misled you, but the moment that I became a single mother was the moment I knew I cannot settle. I must always lead by example.
My standards are high too. I don't date single mothers. Don't worry, keep your high standards and you will stay a single mother. There's nothing wrong with having standards, but a man wished that women would have that beforehand. Should have had them standards before, and you would not be single. The amount of delusion these women are feeding themselves is crazy, especially this one. There's no way this woman thinks a millionaire is searching for women with kids. Is it possible? Yes. But the possibility of that happening is really, really low. And nobody disqualifies single mothers from having standards. We just wish they would have them before throwing themselves at chads and getting smash, and then later on expects another man to pick up that load and responsibility. What exactly would he gain going into a pre-built family?
What? Cause we know
you ain't got no will.
What?
You ain't got no bottle.
Say what you tell.
Let's just be honest.
Say what you tell.
Let's just be real.
Say one time.
Correct.
3 reasons why you should never date a single dad. He already has kids, so you get the rare situation where you get to see what he's like as a dad. I sure hope you don't want kids, because after seeing that, you might want your own. He has the potential to change your mind. He's taking care of a kid or kids, taking care of you. Easy peasy. 3, a lot of women complain when a man doesn't know how to do things around the house. Well, single dads already know how to do all that stuff. So if you need help, he probably knows exactly how to do it the way that you like it already. So you won't have as much to complain about, unfortunately.
I cut off a guy that was perfect in every other way except for the fact that he had kids. I'm actually kind of sad about this one. The crazy part is we went on a date with each other probably like 3 years ago, and at that time he did not have any. I don't even remember why it didn't work out necessarily. And I was just kind of like hanging out with him again just to kind of see where it went. We went on a couple dates, but I started to feel myself really like him, and I was like, I know this isn't going to work. So I like didn't want to waste his time or my time, because it's like I simply cannot get over certain things that come with dating people with kids. I don't have any kids. I could go and move anywhere at any time. I can be spontaneous and take a trip. I can be spontaneous with my money and not have to worry as much because I'm not a parent. Being serious with somebody or committing to somebody with children, you take on certain sacrifices that they take on. And I'm just not prepared to do that at all. I don't want to be reminded of somebody's ex all the time because they're always going to be in the picture. I don't want to be with somebody that already shared certain experiences with somebody else that I wanted to experience for the first time with them. That's just how I feel.
This is understandable. I wish it was understandable for the men also. When they say they do not want to date single mums, the only thing they get in return is hate from women, as if men can't have preferences. The double standard is what's frustrating. When women say they want a man who's financially stable, tall, or successful, no one bats an eye. But the moment a man says he prefers not to date a single mother, he's labeled as judgmental, insecure, or even misogynistic.
Okay, I'm ready to find the love of my life. Let's do this. Okay, great. Let's start by leaving the house. No.
Let's talk about ghosting. Ghosting is probably one of the things you can do to a person. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is the ghosted, so the person that was ghosted, they cling on for dear life. Like, I've been ghosted and it's fucked with me. Like, fucked with me. And I was asking why, I wanted reasoning, I was constantly in my head trying to rationalize, I became fucking delusional, being like, they're just too afraid of their feelings, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you've ghosted someone, come on, we're adults, it's not that hard to say, hey, I'm just not into you like that, sorry. It saves so much time and so much hurt if you just communicate how you're feeling. It could be the best thing you ever do. It also is going to make the other person feel a lot better. And yes, communicating is hard, and I get that, and I understand that people may not be as in tune with dissecting their emotions to be able to give someone, you know, a good reason. But in the same breath, like, if you're the one that's thinking of ghosting because you don't like this person, that's okay. If you don't like someone, you don't like them. But don't just cut contact and skedaddle on out of there and think that everything's going to be fine, because it does hurt the other person. Their self-worth is affected.
Ghosting has definitely affected both men and women, making dating more challenging and frustrating. We're in an age where people treat others as disposable, moving on at the first sign of something better, rather than investing in real connections. Add to that the fact that we're in a generation where having multiple partners and keeping your options open is practically encouraged, and it becomes clear why meaningful relationships are becoming harder to find. This whole grass is greener mentality is only feeding the cycle of ghosting, because people feel like they can always find someone else if things aren't perfect.
Dating as a single parent goes like this. Him: are you free this weekend? Me: no, I'm not free this weekend, I've got the kids. Are you free next weekend? Him: nah, I've got my kids that weekend. Me: oh, well, if we're ever going to meet up, it's going to have to be in a wacky warehouse, dump the kids in there and we'll get drunk. Cheers.
I'm gonna need you girls with kids to realize that you ain't got that many options. You lucky we even.
Last week, my daughter came to ask me what she could do to be less high maintenance. And I'm going to tell you guys, in case anybody needs this reminder, of what I told her. A man that makes this type of video or tells you that you're too much or you're too high maintenance is doing that because they want to give you less than the bare minimum. So since forever, men have put themselves on a pedestal. They made sure that we knew that they were the prize. So they would reduce our worth, reduce our value, and we were only worthy and valuable if we gave them children, if we were good housewives, if we did anything to serve them. And now that the patriarchy is being dismantled and women are finally stepping into that power and finally knowing that we are worthy and valuable just for being alive, it is making some men very uncomfortable. And those are the men who will tell you to reduce your value to please them. These are the type of men that instead of going internally and trying to be better humans, they will go externally and try to control women. I was one of those women that lost my value and lost my voice because I believed men when they told me to be less. And it took me years of healing to undo all that brainwashing. So this is a reminder to women of all ages. If a man is telling you that you are too much or you're too high maintenance, just because they don't see your worth doesn't mean that you don't have any. You are worthy, valuable, and lovable because you exist.
No, madam. No man is telling you to be less. They're saying, be reasonable and logical with what you're saying. A woman without a child is more valuable to a man because that woman hasn't given up her womb. It is not a put down, it is simply facts. And high maintenance in a woman's dictionary means require a lot of attention to maintain, require a high emotional investment or an excessive amount of money. That already sounds stressful. Why is it a man's job to regulate your emotions or fund your lifestyle? It's not sustainable for most men to constantly be on their toes, trying to meet endless emotional and material demands. The reality is, men want a partner who brings peace, not one who drains their energy and resources.
You know? Honestly, you're not that ugly. Thank you. The only issue is society. Like, why is it so disgusting or gross to date somebody like you? It's not. You know what? Screw it. I don't care if my friends make fun of me forever. Let's do it. Let's go on a date. Tomorrow at 6. That's perfect. I'll see you then. I'm excited.
Can someone explain to me why so many women get pissed about the dudes in their DMs even though they're posting half-naked pictures on the internet? Y'all will be practically naked with your butt cheeks out, your breasts out, full face of makeup, filters. You'll edit your photos so you look slimmer with a fat ass and bigger boobs. You'll edit your photos to not have cellulite. You'll do all of this stuff and post it on the internet, basically catcalling men, but then get mad at the dudes that are in your DM. And I can almost guarantee you that the majority of you, if y'all went missing, nobody would find you because you don't look like the person in the photos. Take off all of the makeup, take off all of the filters, show your natural self, and see how many dudes are in your DMs then. Some of y'all want attention so bad, and it shows. But not only that, you will do all of this for one guy to hit you up. The one guy that you're trying to get his attention, rather than just being classy and initiating conversation with the guy that you actually want. You'll be lustful for a bunch of dirty dudes in your DMs. Make that make sense. And then you consider yourself a high-value woman. You cannot be mad at the dudes in your DMs if you're posting half-naked pictures because you know exactly what you're doing when you're doing it, and you're doing it for attention. So it's stupid to play dumb like, oh my God, I have all of these dudes in my DMs. And let's not forget, a lot of y'all put your value in the dudes that are in your DMs, and those men aren't worth a damn. Stop catcalling men and posting half-naked pictures if you don't expect them to slide in your DMs. Okay, bye.
They're upset because it's not the 6-foot-tall man sliding into their DMs, and if it were, they'd likely react very differently. The reality is that many of these women post provocative pictures as a means to draw attention to their OnlyFans pages or similar platforms. It's a strategy to entice simps to subscribe to their lustful content, tapping into a market that thrives on superficiality. On top of that, many women who heavily edit their photos, pile on the makeup, and use numerous filters are often coming from a place of deep insecurity. They're trying to create an image that aligns with societal standards of beauty, and in doing so, they lose sight of their authentic selves. Instead of embracing their natural beauty, they rely on these artificial enhancements to feel validated and attractive. This reliance on filters and heavy editing is a reflection of their internal struggles. They're seeking external validation because they don't feel confident in who they are without those enhancements. This constant pursuit of perfection creates a delusion where they believe they need to look a certain way to be worthy of attention and love.